anxiously on down in the dungeon, the tranquil waters off the Drageildøyne coast bore witness to an urgent mission. Aboard a swift-sailing vessel, our heroes, Kithri, Wyrmrex, Malveth, and the shadow-dancing twins Lyra and Kaelen, received dire news from an ethereal messenger. A white raven, bearing a weathered scroll, brought word of Rittenheim's desperate plight. Racing against time, with Drageildøyne's majestic form soaring overhead, they arrived to find the settlement besieged by a relentless tide of lizardfolk warriors. The battle that followed transformed Rittenheim streets into a crucible of chaos, Lyra and Kaelen striking from the shadows, Wyrmrex unleashing devastating arcane fury, and Malveth calling forth the very spirits of the dead. Yet victory brought more questions than answers. Through forbidden necromancy, they extracted a chilling truth from a fallen lizardfolk commander. Their attack was no mere raid, but part of a greater design. Behind it all lurks a force of terrifying power, Malveth, a black dragon whose ambitions threaten to reshape the entire Drageildøyne coast. Now, as Drageildøyne's earth-shaking roar pierces the air, our heroes face a desperate race to prevent the surviving raiders from reporting back to their draconic master. And now, the continuation of Down in the Dungeon. The party, buoyed by their recent victory yet unaware of the trials to come, races after the fleeing lizardfolk. Wyrmrex and Malveth lead the charge, their eyes locked on the retreating forms of their scaled foes. Lyra and Kaelen follow close behind, weapons drawn and ready for action.
We can't let them get away. If they link up it with their main force, Rittenheim is doomed.
Lyra speaks true. This ends here, in blood and fire if need be.
As the party crests a hill, they suddenly find themselves face to face with a scene that stops them dead in their tracks, the blood in their veins turning to ice. The fleeing lizardfolk merge with a force of staggering proportions, their numbers swelling to 50 strong. The ground is littered with charred and broken bodies, casualties of Drageildøyne's fiery wrath. Yet the enemy's ranks seem to stretch on endlessly, an ocean of scales and savage intent. The party members exchange looks of shock and dismay, the weight of their strategic error hitting them like a battering ram.
We may have gravely miscalculated. In our zeal to pursue, we failed to consider the full scope of our enemy's strength.
A costly error, one we must now rectify through skill, courage, and perhaps a touch of divine intervention.
Lyra and Kaelen stare at the advancing horde, their eyes wide with a potent mixture of fear and steely determination.
By the shadows, there's so many, how can we possibly?
We stand as one, sister. We fight as one. Our strength lies not just in our individual skills, but in the bonds that unite us.
As the lizardfolk close in, the true gravity of your situation becomes painfully clear. The 20 nearest to you ready their crude but deadly weapons, eyes gleaming with malicious hunger. And beyond them, another 30 surge forward to join the fray, their numbers threatening to engulf you entirely. But the time for regrets has passed, and hesitation means certain death.
May the Raven Queen guide our blades and shield our souls. In her name, we shall prevail against this tide of scales and savagery.
They may have numbers, but we possess something far greater. We carry the strength of our convictions, the fire of our purpose. Let them come in their hundreds. They shall taste the wrath of the company and know true fear.
As the first wave of lizardfolk crashes against the party's defenses, the air fills with the clash of steel, the hiss of spells, and the agonized cries of the fallen. High above, Kithri and Drageildøyne circle like vengeful spirits, raining fiery death upon the enemy ranks. Yet even their awesome might may not be enough to turn the tide of this desperate battle.
I'm not about to let these scaly bastards get the upper hand. I'll use the terrain to my advantage, become one with the shadows, and pick them off one by one.
With fluid grace, Lyra slinks behind a nearby tree, her form seeming to meld with the dappled shadows. Lyra all but vanishes from sight, becoming one with the forest itself. Kaelen, witnessing his sister's cunning strategy, follows suit without hesitation. The twins move as one, their synchronized actions a testament to their unbreakable bond. From their hidden vantage points, Lyra and Kaelen unleash a devastating volley of arrows. Each shaft finds its mark with uncanny, almost supernatural precision. 2 lizardfolk warriors fall, their lives snuffed out in the blink of an eye.
That's how we deal with threats in the Shadowfell, you overgrown geckos. Shadow and steel, swift and silent.
Save some glory for the rest of us, sister. We can't let you hog all the fun now, can we?
Fun? No, this is not about enjoyment or glory. This is about survival, pure and simple. And I intend to ensure our victory, no matter the cost or carnage required.
Wyrmrex steps forward, his hands weaving intricate, otherworldly patterns in the air as he begins to chant in an ancient, guttural tongue that seems to make reality itself shudder. Wyrmrex calls upon the very fury of the heavens, unleashing a meteor swarm of cataclysmic proportions upon the advancing lizardfolk horde. The earth trembles violently as the sky rains fire and utter destruction.
May the Raven Queen's blessings be upon us all in this dark hour. We must stand firm against the approaching storm, for we are the last line of defense for the innocent.
Malveth raises his holy symbol high, the air around him shimmering with palpable divine energy as he summons the vengeful spirits of the fallen to protect the party.
The first wave has been broken, their spirits crushed beneath our might. But more are coming, I can sense their approach. We must steel ourselves for the true test that lies ahead.
As if on cue, the ominous sound of marching feet and clashing weapons begins to grow louder, the lizardfolk reinforcements drawing ever closer. The very ground trembles beneath the thunderous tread of 30 more scaled warriors, their eyes burning with the promise of bitter vengeance. They have witnessed the destruction wrought upon their kin, and their rage knows no bounds.
In the sacred name of the Raven Queen, we shall not falter, we shall not fail. We stand as one against this tide of scales and savagery, and by her dark grace, we shall triumph.
The battle rages on as the party braces for the next relentless wave of lizardfolk reinforcements. Lyra and Kaelen take cover behind weather-worn boulders, their bows drawn and ready to sing death's song. Wyrmrex stands tall, defiant, arcane energy crackling at his fingertips like barely contained lightning. Malveth's spirit guardians swirl around him in a ghostly dance, a shimmering barrier against the approaching scaled horde. The very ground beneath their feet trembles as the lizardfolk advance, their numbers seeming to stretch on in an inexhaustible tide of scales and savage intent. The air grows thick, heavy with the promise of violence, the very fabric of reality straining under the weight of the impending clash. High above, Kithri and Drageildøyne circle like vengeful spirits, their keen eyes fixed upon the chaotic battlefield below. They are the wild cards in this deadly game, the ace up the party's collective sleeve.
I am not about to let these scaly bastards get the jump on her. Time to make them regret ever setting foot in Rittenheim, or anywhere else for that matter.
Lyra takes careful aim from behind her rocky cover, her arrow finding its mark with deadly precision in the eye socket of an advancing lizardfolk warrior. Lyra lets loose another arrow that flies true, a whisper of death in the chaos. Another lizardfolk drops in its tracks, its reptilian scream cut short. The creatures hiss with unbridled rage, their eyes darting frantically as they try to locate the unseen harbinger of their doom.
Sister, I can't let you hog all the fun in this little lizard hunt of ours.
Kaelen looses his own arrow with fluid grace, the shaft burying itself deep in the chest of another hapless lizardfolk warrior.
Fun. This is about survival, pure and simple. And I will not allow these scaled vermin to threaten our mission or the innocents we're sworn to protect.
Wyrmrex steps forward, his hands weaving intricate, reality-bending patterns in the air as he summons forth a roaring fireball, hurling it into the midst of the advancing horde. The fireball explodes with a deafening, earth-shaking roar, engulfing the lizardfolk in a maelstrom of arcane flames. The stench of charred flesh fills the air as the inferno consumes all in its path, leaving nothing but ash and smouldering ruin in its wake.
May the Raven Queen's blessings be upon us in this dark hour. We must hold the line against this tide of scales and savagery, no matter the cost to our own souls.
Malveth's spirit guardians surge forward at his command, their spectral forms tearing into the ranks of the lizardfolk with ruthless, otherworldly efficiency. But even as they cut down the enemy by the score, more take their place, an endless tide of scaled flesh and primitive weaponry. The lizardfolk press forward with reckless abandon, their crude clubs and spears seeking their flesh with primal hunger. They land glancing blows on Malveth and Wyrmrex, the impacts sending shockwaves of pain up their arms. Suddenly, a massive shadow passes overhead, blotting out the sun. The air is filled with the thunderous sound of beating wings and a bone-chilling roar.
Hold fast, my valiant comrades. The cavalry has arrived, and vengeance rides with us.
Kithri and Drageildøyne dive from the sky like avenging angels. From her harness on the dragon's neck, the Githyanki warrior's greatsword flashing like liquid silver in the sunlight as she cleaves through the lizardfolk ranks with terrifying efficiency. Kithri is a whirlwind of steel and unbridled fury, her blade finding its mark with every devastating stroke. Lizardfolk fall before her like wheat before the scythe, their bodies hewn and broken, tossed aside like discarded dolls. And then Drageildøyne unleashes his fire breath, a torrent of draconic flame that puts Wyrmrex's fireball to shame. The inferno washes over the approaching reinforcements, the heat so intense that even from a distance you can feel it searing your skin and singeing your hair. The party members watch in awe as the enemy ranks are reduced to nothing more than ash and cinders in the blink of an eye. The battle is won, but at a terrible cost. The clearing, once lush and verdant, is now a charnel house littered with the dead and dying. The very earth is stained with blood and soot, forever scarred by the violence that unfolded here.
We cannot rest on our laurels, my friends. We must press on, no matter how weary our bodies or how heavy our hearts. We must find the source of this evil and excise it like the cancer it is, once and for all.
The smoke dissipates, revealing the grim aftermath of the brutal battle. The charred, twisted remains of the lizardfolk litter the blood-soaked ground, a grisly testament to the party's prowess and the dragon's devastating might. Lyra, Kaelen, Wyrmrex, and Malveth stand amidst the carnage, their weapons still at the ready, eyes scanning the battlefield for any lingering threats. The battle has exacted a heavy toll, but you stand victorious amidst the devastation. The lizardfolk force lies broken and scattered, their grandiose plans of conquest reduced to smouldering ruin. High above, Kithri and Drageildøyne circle like harbingers of victory, their keen eyes fixed upon the blood-soaked battlefield below.
The day is ours, my valiant comrades. Let it be known far and wide. The Dragetide coast will not fall to these scaled marauders, not while we still draw breath.
The Raven Queen has set our feet upon this treacherous path for a reason. We must not falter. We must not fail. The lives of countless innocents hang in the balance.
Malveth speaks true. Whatever darkness lurks behind these attacks, whatever foul creature orchestrated this carnage, we shall drag it into the light of day and make it answer for its heinous crimes.
The party gathers themselves, tending to their wounds and taking stock of their dwindling supplies. A shared understanding passes between them. The road ahead will be long and fraught with peril, each step bringing them closer to a confrontation with an enemy whose true nature they have yet to fathom. But they also know that they have each other, a bond forged in the crucible of combat and tempered by the unwavering strength of their shared convictions. Brave adventurers, your journey through the realms of Euphoria has only just begun. The echoes of battle may fade, but the call to adventure rings eternal. Will you answer that call? Will you delve deeper into the mysteries that await, unravel the secrets of the Dragetide coast, and face the darkness that threatens to consume all? The choice is yours, hero. Don't miss a single moment of this epic saga. Like this video to fuel the fires of adventure, and subscribe to our channel to ensure your place among the legends of Euphoria. Hit that notification bell, and you'll be the first to know when new episodes drop. Until next time, may your critical hits be many, and your fumbles few.